the official start to the second half of the year. I can't even believe it. Does anyone else share my disbelief on that? Already through 2026 halfway. I can't believe it. We're going to start with some shout for the summit. Who's got good news to share? Good news to share. Hey, Tina.
Hi.
Don't make me call on you. Who's got good news to share?
Put a condo under.
Go ahead, say it again.
Kat and I just put one of our listings under together. So
Nice. I love it. Good job, Kat.
Hey, Derek.
Good news to share.
Hey, y'all. This is Kara. Can you hear and see me?
Yes.
I'm in Estes Park, and last Thursday I had a co-listing with Scott Thompson that closed. It was my very first close. So yay me. And also on the call today is one of our newest agents here in Estes. His name is Steve Rush. He doesn't have his video on. It's fine, but y'all say hi to Steve here in Estes.
Hi, Steve. I think he has his video on.
Hey, everybody. I misspelled my own name, so I'm not actually Stevel.
Awesome. Welcome, Steve. Glad you're here. Kara, congratulations. I'm going to share some good news. I am waiting for the phone call that my second granddaughter is arriving. So fingers crossed it happens today. If it doesn't happen today, my daughter, who's a week overdue, is probably going to lose her mind. So something is going to happen big today. So I'm excited for that. Heather is watching the other grandchild. So we are in full grandparent mode. Let's move on to some quick announcements before we introduce Tina Brickhouse, our speaker. Don't forget, on Mondays and Thursdays, we have accountability for Breakthrough 120 on Zoom and in the Frisco and Edwards office. Productivity coaching with Katie is every Tuesday, also on Zoom and in the Frisco office, and contracts with Rod on Wednesdays. Hey, we are doing a blood drive at the Frisco location on Friday, July 10th. It's 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. I emailed y'all about it last week. You can sign up at vitalant.org, and you do have to put in a blood drive code. It's in the email that I sent you last Friday. If you would like to be generous and give blood, we would appreciate it. Every Monday, Charles, our regional tech trainer, and I are doing the Mile High Market Brief. And as a little brag, I can't help myself here. I Googled this morning, Colorado real estate news, and our Mile High Market Brief was the video of choice 3 times out of the top 4 in Google. So we must be doing something right, informing our agents throughout Colorado what's happening in the market. I also share that to say that we've been doing this since, I think, April. And if you are regularly posting on YouTube, read Google, because it's owned by Google, you can change the search results quickly. And video is a great way to do it. It requires good content on the video. It also requires a really detailed description. Because I was playing around with that, I also noticed that when I Google best realtor in Frisco, Colorado, Ann Skinner pulls up because she's all over video right now. And I don't know if Ann can hear me. I think she's over to the left of that one screen. Thank you for pointing her out, Leslie. But, and I also noticed, frankly, that this recording that we do every week is causing real estate training Vail to pop with this video every week. So, Google putting your videos on YouTube, read Google is a really great strategy. Don't miss that. Simon Sinek is going to be our keynote speaker at Mega Agent Camp. I don't have the slide for it, but yesterday on a KW International call, we announced 5 other speakers who are going to be at Mega Camp. It's a really solid lineup this year. So if you can make it, don't miss it. And the Rocky Mountain Summit is happening in our own backyard at the Hythe in Vail, September 23rd, 24th, 25th. September 23rd is an afternoon all about luxury real estate with Carolyn Woe. She's going to be interviewing a panel of luxury agents from all across the country. She's going to be doing some training on the market in the moment for luxury. After the event, we will have a cocktail hour from 4 to 6 on the pool deck at the Hythe. And then on the 24th, we start with our lineup for the Rocky Mountain Summit. And we have a great lineup this year. Jay and Wendy Papazan are going to be there talking about building big businesses and mindset and time control. Brandon Green is going to be talking about wealth. Lauren Lucas is going to be doing an AI presentation followed by a 3-hour AI workshop, much like the one we had a couple weeks ago with her in Silverthorne. Jordan Freed is going to be here this year. Our keynote speaker is Sahil Bloom. He's going to be talking about the top 5 types of wealth. He's going to share about wealth financially, but also wealth emotionally, spiritually, relationally, and physically. So you don't want to miss the Rocky Mountain Summit at the Hythe in Vail. We want to recognize some agents who are doing great things. For June, our top listings taken team in Summit County was the Skinner team. Listen, they took 15 listings, and that is quite amazing. And I share it because if they can take 15, so can you. It requires determination and consistent lead generation and 15 listings taken in 1 month. Kara has already spoiled my excitement about her first closing with us. 1422 Matthew Circle, Estes Park. Great job, Kara. We're proud to be in business with you. Ryan Richards took the most listings in Vail, and that was 4. And Brooke took the top, sorry, I have to keep moving my screen around to read this, was the top closing in Vail at 1.282 million. So without further ado, I'd love to introduce Tina Brickhouse. Tina, when did you and I meet? You're on mute.
Sorry about that. Probably 2019-ish, I'm thinking. 2019.
Yeah.
Sounds
Tina
right to me.
Tina at the time was a team leader in the Woodlands outside of Houston, luxury real estate office. And Tina, from 2019 until late last year, took that market center from a place where it was losing agents and losing money every single month. And she completely transformed the trajectory of that business. Today, they are growing and continuing to grow. They are profitable and getting more and more profitable. How many agents in that market center, Tina?
Around 400.
Yeah. And during that time, she earned her black belt. She earned her black belt as a team leader, which means very little to most, but from when you're in leadership at KW, you know what that means. That means that she not only did an amazing job of bringing agents into Keller Williams, but she did an amazing job of creating a culture where those agents chose to stay with us. And she also became a MAPS coach during that time. And that's why we asked her to come today. Tina, what's your topic today?
I'm actually going to talk about, I'm working with a lot of agents who they're talking about how they feel stuck. They're stuck and their clients are stuck. So I'm going to talk about one of the things that I think causes us to have a little bit of paralysis. And sometimes that's called our confidence gap. And so I'm going to go through what that looks like from a client or a consumer standpoint and what it looks like for us as an agent. And then maybe some tactics that you guys can use to overcome any kind of confidence blocks you may have. And I don't know, if you take 15 listings, you're probably feeling pretty confident right now. So I can't talk to her too much. And that's awesome. I think that's great. But if you're in that place where we feel stuck, and I think all of us at some point feel kind of stuck. Even if we're the leader of market centers, sometimes we feel stuck, but especially I think as agents right now in this environment, I feel like we really feel stuck. So if you will allow me to share my screen, I have a few slides I'm going to pop up and I'm going to run through, if that's okay, Russ.
You can share your slides while you're getting that ready and start working on that. I do want to mention to everybody that please keep Colorado agents from Keller Williams in your thoughts and prayers. As everyone knows, we have wildfires breaking out. I just got off the phone with an agent who has been evacuated from their property in Aspen Acres. We have actually 2 agents that I'm aware of who have been evacuated, and 100-degree temperatures coming up down in the Front Range south, and too much wind, no air support. It's a big concern, and I'll keep you all posted on it. Tina, take it away.
Well, it's going to be a balmy 96 here today in Houston, Texas. So, hey, we're kind of used to that heat, but I would love some of y'all's cool air sometimes. But anyway, so like I was talking about, sometimes it's really the market sometimes isn't really our problem. Really, it's our confidence in the market. And what I mean by that is, how many of you have heard, I'm waiting? I'm just going to wait to see what happens. I'm waiting. They're on the fence, and we're scrambling, trying to figure out, okay, why are they waiting? Like, how can we move them off this fence? Well, and the thing is, they're on the fence they're all on the fence for all different reasons. They all have a variety of reasons. And right now, if you think about it, if you pick up your phone or you watch any news outlet, what's happening? We hear that rates are going up. They're coming down. We've got a war. Now we've got a new Fed chair. Prices are rising. Prices are falling. It's all over the place. And so not only do our clients get confused, hell, half the time we're confused. Like, is it up or down? And it can depend. In Texas, the market may be great. In Colorado, it may be terrible, and vice versa. So it's all these things. It's information overload for our clients. And we all know when we have too much information and uncertainty kicks in. And if you've been to any of the KW trainings, you've all heard about what uncertainty does to not only our clients, but to us, but it causes us to become paralyzed, and it causes us just to stop. We stop thinking, we stop trying to make decisions. And when you're a consumer and you stop making decisions, that means you stop buying. And when they stop buying, that means that really affects us. So, the problem is that our clients are just overloaded with information, and it's information that is contradictory of each other. And so what we have to think about sometimes is the problem is our clients are ignorant. They're just confused. And, what we have to think about is, all the conflicting messages they're getting, the contradictory sources, and we have to become that expert for them. We have to become the person that can go out and make sense of all the things that don't make sense, even for ourselves. And so that is one of the things that helps bring clarity to what they're doing and their situation. So sometimes what we have to think about is, what are they really waiting for? And, one of the things they teach us in MAPS coaching is, are you water skiing or are you diving? And when we're diving, that means we're going deeper into the actual really issue. And we're actually asking probably 1 or 2 or 3 more questions to actually get to why are they really waiting? And, they're probably not waiting for rates. They may say, oh, the rates, but they don't even know what rate they have in mind, right? It's a rate, and they just hear they're going up, they're coming down. And if they're coming down, I want to wait. And if they're going up, I need to do it now. And so they're all confused. And it's not inventory, because more homes probably aren't really going to resolve their anxiety about buying a house. And then the next thing is prices. We hear all this language around pricing, and there's never a really right price. There's no right price. We can't time the market. So we always have to realize that nobody can time the market in a particular way. And then the other thing is, well, they're just going to wait for things to get better. So really what they're saying is they want to wait for some certainty. And sometimes we have to help them understand what that certainty looks like. And so there are no ideal conditions. So we have to dig deeper and ask a few more questions when we're talking with our clients, so that they really get some clarity about why are they really waiting? Like, what are they really afraid of? And a lot of times it's going to come back to I'm just uncertain about what's getting ready to happen. And so I don't want to move. So they stay stuck. And we all know the thing is, no matter what the market does, life doesn't wait for us. Russ is about to have a second grandbaby this morning. You've got fires. We've got people getting divorced. We have people who die. Things happen. People get new jobs. They relocate. So life doesn't stop, and it doesn't wait for the market either. And so we have to work through these things and ask deeper questions and to get more clarity around what our clients are actually wanting. And then, what do they need? What do our clients need? Well, they don't need predictions because that's what they hear every day. Oh, in 6 months, the next 6 months is going to be the best real estate market of the year. And we see it never happens. In the past 3 years, that has not been what has happened, but we keep hearing people predict it. And so we just can't keep predicting, making predictions. We're not astrologers. We're not in these things. We can't make those kind of predictions, but what we do need to do is give them perspective. And so they need to make sense of what the market is. But in order for them to make sense of the market, we have to learn and interpret what the market is telling us. And I love that Russ is doing this Rocky Mountain. What'd you call it? What's your thing called, Russ?
You mean my market update?
Yes, the market update, because
the Mile High Market Brief.
Market High. Yeah, the Mile High Market Brief. Like, he has given you perspective on the market. That is one reason you should be watching that every single week or ever how often he's putting this out, because that right there, especially if you're in Vail and Summit County, which are smaller markets. I'm in Houston, which is a ginormous market. But if you're in a smaller market and you have someone feeding you information and a perspective, not a prediction, but a perspective, that you can actually go and relay to your clients, well, then you can walk into that with confidence, and your clients feel confident in what you're telling them too, because that information is relative to them right there in their own backyard. And that does make a very big difference. A lot of the news and a lot of things that here is national based reality. And that's not their reality. That's nationwide. So you have to really look at it from the perspective of what is happening in my backyard right now. So your job's not forecasting. Your job is to interpret what is happening in this present moment and understanding what your client actually is asking you for right now and where they are, where their mind is. So if your clients and the consumers are uncertain, what's going to happen to what happens when the agents are uncertain? So we know what's happening to the clients because they're not selling. Some of them aren't listing. Some of them aren't moving. They're not getting off the fence. But what happens when we, as professional real estate agents, what happens when we're uncertain too? Well, that's the second confidence gap. It's not just buyers and sellers who are hesitating. A lot of agents are stuck in the same exact patterns as our clients. We're waiting for more options for our clients. We're waiting for lower rates. We're buying into our clients' uncertainty, and we're also getting stuck right along with them. We're right there mired up with them. We're waiting for a better market. So what happens when you're waiting for better markets and you're waiting for these things to happen? The result is you take no action. So you're not making the calls. You're not actively out there pursuing clients because you automatically think, well, they're waiting for inventory. They're waiting for lower rates. They're waiting for the market to change. So you've bought into the same uncertainty. And so therefore your actions also show that. And so agents that are winning today are the ones staying in motion. I mean, you have an agent right there in your midst who took 15 listings this month alone. That is action. And if they, like Russ said, if they can do it, you can do it too. And the thing is, they're not necessarily smarter than you. They're probably not, maybe they're not even working harder than you. They just simply are making sure they're having the right kinds of conversations and they're understanding. They're not trying to predict what's going to happen in 3 months. They're actually interpreting what's happening right now and why now is the right time. And it may not be the right time for every client, right? So again, that is going deeper in understanding your client needs. Sorry. what's happening here? And so what does it cost you to wait? If you're an agent what does it actually cost you to wait? Because sometimes waiting feels good. It feels safe. You're not stepping on anyone's toes. You don't want your clients to run away from you because you're being too pushy or you're being this or being that. So waiting sometimes feels safe. It feels like it's the responsible thing to do. It feels natural. You don't want to have to deal with any, real consequences. But what happens when the relationships cool off? Out of sight, out of mind for most of our clients. Like if you're not in touch with your clients, they forget about you. Not in a bad way, but they just don't think about they're not thinking about you in the same way when you're obviously present all the time. We know this because we can sell a home and they'll say they'll work with us again, but then 3 or 4 years later, they've chosen someone else. Why? Because we let the relationship cool. And that comes from being in a stuck place. Also, our opportunities start disappearing. I mean, all of a sudden you're talking to 10 people who are saying, okay, I am gonna buy. I'm waiting for the rates. I want a house in Vail. I want to be in Summit County. I want to be wherever. But all of a sudden you get stuck and you don't want to have these conversations because you don't know how to interpret what's going to happen. And then all of a sudden they just dry up or they find someone else who came in and said, hey, this is how I interpret the market right now. So you've got someone else who's come and taken your place. And then our pipelines shrink. Like I said, you could have 10 active buyers and then the next thing you know, you have 2 because you've just decided, I don't know what to say to them anymore. And then when all that happens, when all your pipeline dries up, your opportunities disappear, and your relationships start cooling off, what happens? Then all of a sudden, you feel like, I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe I should get out of real estate. So all these questions and all the insecurities start coming, which again, hampers our ability to actually go out and have confident conversations with people who really want to purchase real estate right now. So waiting is a decision and it has a cost. And so I want you to think about these things. How do I prevent my relationships from cooling off? How do I prevent my pipeline from shrinking? That means you just got to continue having these conversations. Consumer, when the client has uncertainty and the agent has uncertainty, this is what I'm talking about, then it just creates inactivity. No one's moving. We're just staying where we are. And that kills momentum. And we know when momentum stops, then you're gonna start losing transactions. You just waiting around, waiting for something to happen. And how do deals die without a fight? Well, one is waiting. We're just waiting. Both parties are passive. We're hoping things will work out sometime. We're just waiting. The second way a deal dies is understanding. Both parties think they're on the same page. We're both thinking the same thing, but they're actually not. One really, the agent may be waiting, but maybe the client really wants to jump and they want to purchase. But the agent is thinking that they understand what the client wants, but they haven't had a deep enough conversation to actually be on the same page. This is why it's so crucial that we dig deeper and we actually really understand what our clients are wanting out of us. And then the third thing is you don't have a plan. There's no strategy. Someday I'm going to buy a house on a hillside in Vail somewhere. I don't know. You don't really have a plan. And so there's no strategy. There's no next step. So it just fizzles out. I mean, that's just what happens. And so, there doesn't have to be market crashes or inspection nightmares or financing disasters to kill deals. This right here, which is very just simple, everybody's, there's no fighting or any of this. This can kill deals just as quickly as any of those other things, a crash, nightmare inspections, any of that. So all of this is preventable. You just have to ask the right questions up front and stay engaged through this whole process. And right now we know it's turned into a buyer's market in most areas, and that process has gotten longer. I mean, who doesn't love, putting up a listing and getting it closed in 20 days? I mean, we all love that, but that's not the reality of where we are anymore. And so we have to start thinking differently. And as we have talked about before, people follow certainty. When they feel like you're confident in what you're saying and what you're relaying to them, then they buy into that. They believe it. They start trusting you as showing validity in the market. And that's the reason, these updates that Russ is doing, and you actually going in your own MLS and actually interpreting what is happening in our backyard right now is so vitally important, because when you're confident in what you're saying and what you're doing, and you understand the numbers too, like if you don't really know what's going on in the market and you're trying to BS your way through it, people read that in a heartbeat. So that's where your confidence comes into play, is actually knowing what am I talking? I know what I'm talking about. And also the thing is, confidence is a contagious thing. When people feel like you know what they talk about, they're going to believe you. They're going to listen. And so if you're anxious, then figure out a way. Go and study the market. Listen to these podcasts that will help you build confidence in what you're saying. And Phil Jones says the worst time to figure out what you're going to say is at the time you need to say it. So sometimes it's just practicing some of these things. Like Russ said, create your own video around some of this stuff. That will even build your confidence even more. So great markets hide weaknesses. And so we all know, we've all heard a rising tide lifts all boats. And, when that happens, like 4 years ago, it didn't matter what kind of agent you were, you could sell some houses. And none of them, a lot of agents had really terrible habits, and they were easily buried because things were moving so quickly. But now today's market really exposes all your gaps. It exposes what you don't know. It exposes your confidence level, because you haven't actually really had to have these interpretive types of conversations in order to move forward. And so, the thing
And
is,
Tina,
yes, go ahead,
I
Russ.
want to interject. It exposes what you don't know. It also exposes, I think, what you're unwilling to do.
Absolutely.
Maybe maybe that's the next slide, but a market like today's market, it's very easy to see who is getting up in the morning and making proactive TCPA compliant phone calls,
Right.
or implementing their social media plan, or knocking on some doors. My wife's best friend just got a real estate license, and she put her own home on the market, because that's what we usually do right after we get our license. And she found some buyers, and they're willing to spend up to $2.5 million. And they haven't found the house yet. She was out in 90-degree weather yesterday, knocking on doors in St. Louis, Missouri, at the $2 million level, which, by the way, Vail people, that's like a $5 million house where you are. And she got 4 listing appointments just doing that.
I mean, incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that is the thing, great markets hide your weaknesses. And right now we're not in a great market. And so what we do know is, those professionals will always rise when conditions get tougher. They will figure it out, and they don't get stuck. And that's one of the key things I just want you guys to hear today is, if you're feeling stuck, get into motion, figure out the next thing to do. The thing is, one of the things I really want you to think about is to become a translator and not a predictor. Let's translate the market. What does it mean? Nobody knows what's going to happen. Nobody has the crystal ball. I don't care who they are. I don't care if they're a Fed chair, that nobody has, not even Trump. None of us have a crystal ball. We think we do, but we don't. And so we need to stop trying to predict, and we need to start translating and interpreting exactly what's going on. So what great agents actually do, they don't forecast the market. They make the market make sense for the person sitting across the table for them. Because they're all different. Some people have cash. Some people need financing. Some people want to be here. They want to be there. They have families. They all have their own situation. So what today's market means, explain what's going on in the market in the simplest words. And if you're using AI to do this, go back in there, take whatever blurb it's given you and say, write this in fifth grade language. Then everybody understands it, unless you don't have a fifth grade education. I think most of us today have fifth grade educations. So think about it. Make sure it's simple. No, you don't have to sound like you have a PhD in real estate to sell real estate. You just have to make it make sense for the person sitting across the table from you. And then the next thing is, what options exist today? Help them see the full picture of all their options, the financing options, where they could be located, whatever their predicament is. Understand what is needed, understand their full picture, and just don't give them, well, you can have this or have this. Give them the options. People love options. And also help them understand what the risks are today if they buy today. Acknowledge that they're out there and have an honest conversation around it. And then what are the opportunities? Show clients what others are missing when they're waiting on the sidelines. So sometimes creating, and I would also say, if you haven't ever really worked with a lot of buyers or been in a buyer's market, go back to the shift book, start picking out some shift tactics to work through. Those things will help you understand a buyer's mentality. There used to be a great class at Keller Williams called Winning. Was it Winning with Buyers? Was that what it's called, Russ? Winning with Buyers?
Win with buyers, yeah.
Win with Buyers. Another great class to help you through understanding buyer needs and how to really work in a buyer environment. So I'm going to give you about 5 or 6 different activities that you can use to get unstuck. If you're feeling that, or to even become someone who can translate the market. So what I'm going to challenge you to do is to make some of these translator calls. Call 5 of your past clients, or maybe 5 of your cold leads, and don't call them to pitch them something. Call them to talk about, this is what's actually happening in our market right now. And, because there's more listing inventory, buyers actually have more negotiating power today than they've had in 3 or 4 years. That's a great conversation for a buyer who's been on the sidelines for a while, because they're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to go over list. It's going to be multiple offers. Nobody wants to deal with that kind of thing. So sometimes it's just going back to maybe some of those cold prospects you had and say, okay, market has really changed. And now this is why it might be a great time for you to get back in it. So make it a translator call, not a pitch. And be valuable, be genuine, not transactional. We all know we need to have a relational style business. And then the second thing is create some clarity content, like share Russ's content. I mean, that's as clear as it gets. He has given you actual market data for your county and in Vail and Summit counties. He's given you information right at your hands. Take that and interpret it in your own language for your clients. And, stop all posting your listings. Okay, there's listings. Great. We have to market our listings. But start explaining actually what's happening and why it matters to the people who are out here trying to transact. Why does it matter that I list my house right now? Why don't I wait a while? There's a lot of other listings on my street right now. Should I wait? So having these types of conversations and helping them understand, like, why don't wait, or yes, or maybe, giving them the options of, this house versus that house. Talk them through the process. So these are 3 things that I would have some clarity content around. What can buyers actually negotiate today? There's lots of different concessions, rate buy downs, repairs, and which sellers are open to that? Because some sellers will be like, I'm doing nothing, because they're still living a couple years ago. But some sellers are like, yes, I'm ready to be done with this, and they will negotiate. And then what are the inventory trends? That's another one. More supply equals more leverage. Explain that to your buyers, and also explain it to your sellers, what it means for them as well, that they are going to have to probably come to the table being willing to negotiate when these types of things happen. And then why do homes sit? Why are some homes just sitting? Why? And most of the time it's going to be overpricing, or the seller is just not willing to move. And so, become the guide, be the guide. Our listings can be our billboard, but what we say in our conversations, we are the guide. So we have to guide them through this process. Another activity, review your listings, all your listings, go back and review them through today's lens, because you might have had a listing on the market for 4 months. Well, 4 months ago, the market was real different than it is right now. So go back, review your listings through today's lens, price for today, not last year, market for today's buyer. What are they looking for? Your photos, your copy, positioning, understanding that speaking to who your client is, not some just, verbose, whatever kind of listing copy. Make sure it's speaking to who you want to come move in this house. Make me come want to buy that house through what you're saying about it. And then, showing well against competition. Look at your listing compared to the one down the street. What's the difference? And make sure you have that conversation with your sellers and even your buyer. Why would I buy that house versus this one? Because those are going to be questions they're going to ask you about. Like I said, be the translator of the market. And lastly, many listings aren't failing because of the market. They're failing because they're priced for a market that no longer exists. And that's the whole point of going through this exercise. And then, conduct opportunity reviews. This is another thing I think is really good. A lot of times the gold is in our databases and we don't realize it. We don't even know who's in our databases. So another activity, if you're feeling stuck, another activity is to go through your database and segment it out. How many empty nesters are you having? How many retirees? Your investors? How many people are outgrowing their homes? How many people want second homes? I'm sure in parts of your county and where you are, a lot of people are looking for second home. Well, do you have second homeowners who don't want those homes anymore? I'm sure there's some. I know there are, all up and down the coast and even here in the hill country. So think about who's in my database that may be experiencing some type of life event in the next 12 to 24 months. That can become a prospecting list for you. So think about where are my opportunities, and then make sure you're going out and having some talking points around those opportunities. And increase your face-to-face conversations. And we've talked about this. Trust is your biggest competitive advantage when you are a realtor. Confidence helps you build that trust, and being in front of someone talking face-to-face, a lot of times that is going to also help you build your confidence, especially if you've done a little homework around their home, their neighborhood, even your friends. This helps build confidence, and it also puts you into action. And then I would say, lastly, audit your pipeline weekly. Who is stuck? Which of your clients is stuck? They haven't done anything for 30 days. The listing hasn't done anything for 30 days. No one's even came and unlocked the lockbox in 30 days. So that means that property is probably stuck. Either the client's stuck or you're stuck, whatever. But think about, okay, is this am I stuck here? Am I stuck? Are me and my client stuck with this particular property? And, then look at, why are you stuck? Are you scared? Are you confused? What is the questions we have not answered for ourselves to keep us in this spot? And then lastly, what's missing? What piece of context or clarity would change their decision? Again, that comes down to some questions, actually getting down to what their actual motivation is. And we know when you're in a buyer's market, motivation becomes everything. And so I want you to, think about what do most people, what is their motivation? And a lot of times motivation also turns into clarity. They want to move, but they're stuck because they're not clear on why or how. And that's our job, is to be that person. So your new role in this market, the opportunity today is not to know more than anyone else, because Lord knows none of us know it all. It's to help people make sense of where they are, what they already know, and then to translate what they need to know, help them understand the market. Again, you are the interpreter, you're the guide, you're the calm, you should be the steady voice in a noisy room. And that's a very extraordinary thing to be when all the noise is going on. If you're the one who is calm, cool, and collected, and you can say, well, look, this is how I see it. This is what my research, my data has told me. Then you become the one in the room that takes the lead. And you know what? Agents have been building businesses in every kind of hard market we've seen. I mean, here's a list right here of really hard markets. And I know agents who succeeded in every single one of these markets. And generally, it was the one who got up, got dressed, and showed up. And they weren't afraid to go and learn and actually have the hard conversations. And sometimes it's just about having a hard conversation and just feeling good that, I don't like this conversation either. I'm the interpreter. That's all you are, is the interpreter. So the market isn't waiting for certainty, and neither should you. And that's what I'm going to close it with. Nothing is certain in life. It changes every single day. We have to keep getting up, showing up, and moving forward. And thank you so much for allowing me to come in and speak today. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to stick around and answer any. Russ, back to you, hon. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tina. Tina, can you put your email in the
Yes.
in the chat? And then if someone has a follow-up question, they can shoot it to you. And also, if you have buyers or sellers in the Woodlands area of Houston, let Tina know. She can help.
Absolutely.
So, hey, folks, I wanted to share. Tina made me think about one thing that I wanted to share with you. Every week we send you this email. And if you scroll down to the section that says tools, there is a area where you can click on a toolkit that we've created for you. And the tool that I want to share with you is right here, called Stats for Agents. And if you look into here, you'll notice that every Friday, my team puts together a statistical report for Eagle County, Grand County, Park County, and Summit County. Sorry, Estes Park, I can't figure out how to work your MLS. I'm working on it. But if you go into Eagle County, you'll notice that, let's see, what's the order here? You'll notice that our last update was on Friday. We put together a total market overview for you, which breaks down Eagle County by price band, and it gives you talking points that are real to use with your clients. Because if your clients are listening to the talk track on CNN, MS Now, Fox News, insert whatever, CNBC, they are not getting the details as to what's really happening in Eagle County. But this report is direct from the MLS. It's done every Friday. And if you want to be hyper relevant in Eagle County, wouldn't it be nice to know what's happening at every significant price point? And you might be thinking, well, what about luxury homes? And we also have a luxury version. LMO stands for Luxury Market Overview. TMO stands for Total Market Overview. This is sent to you through the link that I showed you in the Basecamp newsletter each and every Friday. It's always updated. Same for Summit, Grand, and Park County. You might check it out and follow up with me if you have questions. By the way, this list of links that you get every week, it's got a mortgage report that's updated every week. It's got newsletter content sorted by location, including Estes Park this time. And you can cut and paste that content and stick it into your weekly SOI newsletter. It's got our vendors. It's got recordings of all of these sessions that we do. It's got a link to that Mile High Market update, a brief that we've noted. It's got Jason Abrams' podcast. It's got all of our social media pages and a bunch of other things. So don't miss that. Hey, Tina's been awesome sharing with us about that issue of helping your clients and yourselves get unstuck. Next week, Meg Day is speaking. She is a top luxury agent out of Chicago, just moved to Boulder, and she's going to be talking to us about how to sell more luxury homes. Coming soon will be the topic for the 14th. Tom Toronto is a top agent out of Melbourne, Florida. He's going to be talking to us about I just blanked on his topic. Jeffrey D'Angelo is going to talk about luxury homes. He's a top agent out of Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Isaiah Perez is a brand new agent. Listen to this, brand new agent in Montrose, Colorado. He has sold $16 million worth of real estate in the last 12 months in his first 12 months. And you're going to want to hear about that. So thanks for being here. Whoops, wrong direction. And we'll see you next week.